What's up, YouTube? Back at you with another video. We're here with the Snowfall episode 6 reaction recap. Now, this episode was wild, okay? So, but before I break it down, as always, I'm going to go through each of the characters, my thoughts on them, as well as some of the things that happened in the episode that stood out to me. So, without further ado, let's get into it. I didn't even know where to start because so much shit happened, but I'm going to start with Franklin for once. Now, Franklin, what he doesn't realize is that his emotions is literally screwing up all of his plans. And Veronique's mom, she told him, she says, and I'm paraphrasing, but she said that this business or this game rewards people who can keep their cool. And it seems like Franklin is in what I call survival mode or desperation mode. And when you're in survival mode or desperation mode, you never ever make sound decisions because you're not thinking with the right head. If you get what I'm saying. So if you're broke or if you don't have money, you're in survival mode. If you're hungry or you're starving, you're in survival mode. If your back is against the wall, you are in survival mode. So you're more than likely going to make decisions and actions that, you know, you wouldn't really make if you weren't in that state of mind. Because Franklin killing Teddy's father basically was the nail in his coffin, pretty much. Because you gotta understand, Teddy is not just some guy, like just some random white guy that, you know, sells drugs. No, this guy works for the government. So Franklin, I feel like he doesn't really have a good grasp on who he's dealing with. You know what I'm saying? And because here's the other thing about Franklin. Franklin was supposed to get his father, his whole entire family hostage, and then call Teddy. He was not supposed to go and freaking, you know, kill his dad and then call him. Because now you're putting him on alert and you don't have any of those pieces that you said over the phone. I would have had all of them locked up and then I would have called him. I would have said, yo, I got all your folks, so give me the money, I'll give them to you. You have to have all the pieces lined up. You can't, you know, get one piece, a valuable piece, get rid of it, and then make a threat when you don't have anything. Because now, what did Teddy do? Teddy made sure to call his family and told them to relocate because Franklin can find out where they're at. And the thing is, Franklin can't even find out where they're at because Veronique's mom is not around anymore. So that's just another thing as far as why Franklin is not thinking clearly at all. So when Kane called Franklin to let him know that he got Louie, like they ended up catching her. So when Franklin shows up, he sees Louie after, you know, Kane already beat her up and did whatever it is that he did to her. They end up having a conversation, and Franklin is basically like, yo, you know, you might want to give up Buckley because what's about to happen to you is probably not worth the trouble. Buckley is not worth it. And, you know, Louie says whatever it is that she says to him. I'm gonna get to her after. But Franklin feels bad for the fact that Louie got caught and the notion of what was about to happen to her. He felt bad. And that was the second nail in the coffin. Alright, because here's my thing with Franklin. Louie was your enemy, okay? And there's a lot of things that happened between Louie, Franklin, Jerome that basically their relationship is practically beyond repair. So I understand that, yeah, you know, she is sort of family, I guess, but at the same time, you gotta understand that there's certain people that you can't fix that because she blamed Franklin for the fact that she was there, and in some cases, yeah, but in my opinion, she got herself there based on her own, you know, foolish decisions. So Franklin ends up making a call to Leon, who ends up making a call to Jerome to save her. Now, again, on one hand, I don't disagree with Franklin for wanting to save Louie because I don't even think she deserved what was going to happen to her. But at the same time, it's like, yo, she made her bed. Now it's time for her to lay in it because it had nothing to do, whether Franklin was around or not, Kane was already going to go after Louie. He was going to catch her eventually, whether Franklin was involved or not, because she was the one that put the hit on Kane for those guys to shoot up his house. Because when Franklin was there and they were talking, the only reason why those guys came to shoot up the house was because Louie sent them over there. Louie was the one who sent Buckley after Kane and shot him and put Kane in the hospital. So Louie already had all of this stuff coming prior to that. So if I was Franklin, I would have been like, yo, did I tell you to shoot up his house? Did I tell you to send that dirty cop to go and kill him? No, you did that. So I think Franklin, it was just the old part of him. You know, I think the part of him that remembers, or there was a part of Franklin that remembered the relationship that he used to have with Louie, and that was the only reason why he decided to save her. Which, again, I think this is going to be his downfall. You know, and Franklin, at this point now, because he's just been on edge, it's taken away from his thought process. So Franklin is now not really thinking clearly at all, and then he doesn't understand that the decisions he's making based off of emotions and the way that he feels is really, you know, clouding his judgment on what his next move should actually be. Because he's been making mistakes left and right, and now I think, again, his fate is sealed. It's either he's gonna die or he's gonna end up in jail. But a lot of that is gonna have to do with Louie at some point. You know what I'm saying? Starting this next episode is really going to be the beginning of the end. So that's my thoughts on Franklin for right now. Jerome. You know, I didn't do a reaction to the last episode, but I want to talk about it a little bit. Jerome all of a sudden had a change of heart, and I think a lot of that had to do with two things. It had to do with his talk with Dion, and I guess his old friend, that guy who was the bus driver in Drumline, and the guy who played, I remember his name, but he was in Raising Kanan. Dion told Jerome that, you know, he was like, he's like, I'm not the last of a dying breed. He was like, you are. He was like, basically, there aren't any other, you know, OGs out there like you. And I think that started something, or that reached a part of Jerome's mind that he didn't really know was there, which then ended up making him go out to that, you know, mechanic, that car garage, and talking to one of his old friends. And I think him not even being able to, you know, relate to his friend anymore. The fact that the same car was spinning the block, you know, 3 different times, and that already something was about to pop off. I think it finally made him realize, like, yo, all of this is not worth it. Like, what are you doing this for? Money? You already got bread. It's not like these guys are still broke. No, you guys are at the top of the ladder and you're rich. So it's like, what else are you in pursuit of? And so Jerome goes back to Louie, and he's basically telling her, like, yo, I'm done. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. He's like, yo, you got me at war with my family, or not really her, but like this whole thing, me being there for you, has caused so much issues and trouble, and it's not worth it anymore. And it's like he wanted to walk away, you know, from all of that with his life. And Louie, again, I'm gonna talk about her later, but Louie, you know, it's like she accepted the blame or her part in it, which was the overwhelming part of it, but she was more so like, well, it is what it is, or, you know, I still have some unfinished business, so I'm gonna still, you know, need your help. And Jerome is just like, nah, like, yo, it's over. He was like, my part in this story is over. It's done. And he's like, yo, I'm gonna leave. He was like, I'm gonna go to Jamaica, or wherever he said that he was gonna go, and that was gonna be that. And the thing is, I feel him, but it's almost as if it was too little too late, because so much has happened already. Because my thing is, this was like a complete 360 from where he was a couple of episodes ago. You know, when, like, because Leon told him that. Leon was, if he was gonna say that to anybody, he would have said that to Leon. Leon was the one who was showing them, like, yo, who you could be if you just walk away. And then you could see the look in their eyes, the look in his eyes, like, yo, they just didn't care. You know, they were just, again, they were one with the drama. They were one with the issues. They were one with everything. And it seemed like whatever it is that Leon was saying to him, it didn't reach him. But it's like Jerome had to literally detach himself from Louie and then connect with, you know, Dion and whatever that mechanics, you know, the mechanic guy, for him to realize like the value in his life. And again, to me, it was just too late. You know, too much has happened. Y'all in too deep. So when Franklin reaches out to Jerome to rescue Louie, Jerome sacrifices himself for her. And, you know, she was the love of his life. And personally, I don't think it was worth it. But then again, that is Jerome's character. He loved Louie more than he loved himself, and it got him killed. And I've been saying this since season 5. And then I called this the first episode. I already knew one of them was going to die. And it was Jerome. And here's why. So now I'm going to tie it together, because I made a point to mention the origami thing before. So when Jerome told Louie that he was going to go and meet up with Sissy to have a conversation, and Louie wasn't having it because, again, she's neck deep in the drama. She doesn't care. She's basically done with Franklin, his mother, anything that has to do with them. When she dropped that origami figure represented Jerome. I don't remember what what's his name, Scully, said specifically about those origami figures, but those things were representative of their karma, each other's karma, you know, if you will. So Jerome still held on to his, she dropped hers, and that means she dropped Jerome. That Jerome wasn't all that, you know what I'm saying, to her, really. Like, her vendetta against Franklin and her ambition and drive to be, I guess, the #1 drug dealer in wherever they are in LA, that meant more to her than life, than Jerome, than Franklin, and everybody, because all of this is about money. And I said that before. You know, and as much as I hated Jerome, or I started to hate him after a while, I mean, honestly, everything that I felt about Jerome had more so to do with Louie than him. But the fact that he died, it kind of made me appreciate his character a little bit more than I did before. You know what I'm saying? And you know, but this is just a message to viewers, like, yo, it's like a lot of the BS is not worth it. Like, it is not worth it. And 9 times out of 10, it is usually better to just walk away than to stand there and engage in an issue that is not going anywhere. You know, you understand too. I'm like, we've grown, or I'm not gonna say we've grown with the characters, but we've watched these characters for 6 seasons. So I just hate that, again, you know, season 1 to season 6, and this is how the story of Jerome ends, over Louie, over some nonsense that they could have avoided. Nah, you know, so those are my final thoughts on Jerome. I won't have anything to say about him moving forward because, you know, he's dead. So Jerome, see you in the crossroads, crossroads.
Meet me at the crossroads, meet me at the crossroads, and you're gonna miss everybody, and you're gonna miss everybody, and you're gonna miss everybody.
So those are my thoughts on Jerome. R.I.P. Jerome. R.I.P. Jerome. Louie. All right. Louie does not, like, I don't even really know where to begin where it comes to Louie. But I'll say this. Louie is one of those women that are better off being single. They are better off being lesbians or being single, because they will never follow a man's lead. Louie was, again, the brains of the relationship between her and Jerome, and she wore the pants. And then look where Louie's leadership of that relationship landed them. Look where it got Jerome. He is dead. He is dead, and it is all Louie's fault. It is not Franklin's fault, because she tried to blame Franklin. It is not Franklin's fault, and I'll tell you why. So she gets caught by Kane, and again, this is that whole thing happening was basically the accumulation of all her karma leading up to that point. Because I don't really remember what, you know, Kane's issue with Louie and Jerome were. I don't really remember, you know what I'm saying? Like, if they had anything to begin with, because I know Kane came back because Franklin shot his nephew or his cousin or some shit like that. But I don't remember what the issue with, you know, Louie and Jerome was. At least I don't remember. And Kane starts to torture this woman, and you know, she tries to talk slick and all of that, but you know, Kane already saw through that, and he was already trying to pretty much break her down and break her in. You know what I'm saying? And she tried to bribe Franklin. Basically, so she tried to give up Teddy for Franklin to let her go. And Franklin was like, yo, I already have a connect on Teddy, so you're not providing anything that I don't have already. And she's stuck. Again, she's trapped. Now, what my problem with Louie is that, again, she just does not care about anyone else but herself. Because everything that she feels towards Franklin moving forward, or everything that she's going to feel towards Franklin moving forward, is just self-righteous. Because I'm pretty sure if Jerome was still alive, or if he could have anything to say to her, he would just say, you know what? Just let it go. Don't continue it. So they got they had Paige Kennedy to be like this knockoff pimp named Slickback and all of that. And you know, that to me was wild. And even in those moments, I think she just never, a woman like that just doesn't learn. It's like she has to learn the hard way for some reason, because you had Jerome telling you like, yo, let's just walk away right now. And he said, yo, you can walk away because you love me. He was like, walk away because you love me. And she still couldn't do it. She, honestly, I don't think she deserved to be saved. Honestly. And I'm not saying that like, you know, I condone what would have happened to her and all of that types of stuff. But I'm just saying, like, her character at that point was just already, like, she's beyond saving. Like, character-wise. Like, her as a person, she's too far gone. Because you could help people like that over and over and over again, and it will always bring you down. Because she got Jerome killed. So, she gets saved. And, again, in the trailer, she goes and says, Franklin, this is all your fault. And in fact, she told Franklin that in the very beginning. Now, Louie, what I think is going to happen to her, Louie, she's going to wind up dead at some point, you know, because Kane is no longer alive for her to get retribution at. So the only person that she can assign blame to is Franklin, who she thinks got her in that situation, not realizing that she brought it all on herself. Everything that happened to her, she brought it on herself. Again, and I felt the same way that Franklin did. I was like, yo, like, I hate Louie, but damn, like, you know, she really about to get broken down, broken in, and turned out up in there. You know what I'm saying? And I felt the same way. I was like, yo, like, I don't want to see that happen to her, you know? And despite the fact that Franklin saved her, she still didn't appreciate that shit. Because Franklin didn't have to save her. He didn't have to say anything. The only reason why Jerome was able to find her was because Franklin saved her life. Franklin saved her life, because a girl like that, in that type of situation that she was going to be in, or that she already was in, because it was going to get worse. Two things would have happened to freaking Louie. She would have either wound up dead, because these guys are not going to want to hear this girl mouthing them off the whole entire time. You see what I'm saying? Or she, again, would have ended up like worse than Wanda did. Way worse than Wanda. She would have ended up like I don't even know the word to call it, but hey, I'm gonna just quote Kane. She would have ended up the bottom bitch. Like, that's how bad things would have gotten. Again, because there's a reason why Franklin was like, nah, like, I can't let her, nah. Because he was like, damn, like, nah, I can't even let that go down, yo. As after everything. That just goes to show that the difference between Franklin and Louie, because Franklin still has morals. Franklin, no matter what, still felt like she was still family, and that's why he saved her. Because in my opinion, again, I'm like, strategically, is it to my advantage for me to really, you know, save her? You know what I'm saying? But because, again, if I have a close relationship with her, of course I'm not going to let that, you know, go down. So Louie, you know, she's just always going to be the same person. She went through possibly the most traumatic thing, you know, situation in her entire life, and she came out on the other side a worse person than she was going into it. You know, and I can understand why maybe she might feel a bit bitter about it, but it could have went way worse than that. Like I said, it could have went way worse if Franklin and Jerome did not show up for her. I don't even want to know what happened. And props to, you know, the writers and the people of the show for not showing all of that, because I don't even want to see that. Like, it was bad enough that they alluded to a lot of that nasty shit. I don't even want to see that. So Louie, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, it's just, no. I put it like this. My prediction is that I don't see her or Franklin making any amends by the end of it. Like, I think the two of them, like, one of them is going to die on bad terms, you know. And again, Louie is just a pure example of, yo, like, the wrong woman will ruin your life. It's real shit. The wrong woman will ruin your life. I'm not saying that there's not moments where a woman can, you know, maybe take the lead for a moment or two in a relationship, but a relationship is a social construct that a man is supposed to lead. Women do not know what they're doing in relationships as from a leader's perspective, because these sorts of things happen in real life to men all the time. All the time, men get involved with women just like Louie, and it ruins them. It ruins them, and they get so far in deep that they can't get out. You know, and like, even now, again, like, I put it like this, I don't think any woman deserves what was gonna happen to her. You know, I don't think that at all. Like, to me, that's like as vile as it gets. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she was better off dead than being, you know, in the situation that she would have been in. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's like people like that just never learn. You know, and I don't know what's gonna happen to her, you know, moving forward. But I think, again, she's just gonna be, because she doesn't have anything to live for anymore. Because her and Jerome, they were a package deal. So the fact that now, you know, he's dead, she doesn't have anything to live for anymore. Because who's she gonna share it with? Especially looking like that now. Kane branded her like a cow. You know, and so Louie, just for all the men out there that are listening, bruh, like, look out and be on the lookout for Louie-like character traits in women in real life, and watch out, because again, girls will legit ruin your life if you're not careful. So that's my thoughts on freaking Louie. Kane. Now, I've said, you know, on numerous occasions that Kane, you know, is one of my favorite characters based on how, you know, they presented him. But like, I understand why he went hard on Louie the way that he did, because, you know, she put him in the hospital. You know, she tried to kill him, right? But I kind of draw the line at that sort of shit, because again, he like legit was about to, yeah, like, so but I think the way that he went out, I don't really respect it, to be honest with you. And I think like any kind of respect that I had for his character kind of went out the window in episode 6. Like, I don't really like him anymore, to be honest with you, because one, he tortured freaking Louie. And again, I understand, like, trust me, believe me, I understand. Like, I understand a lot of guys out there, if somebody were, you know, to do them, you know, like that, you know, you're gonna come back 10 times harder, and he did, you know. And it was because I think it wasn't really her. He was looking for Buckley. So he was like, all right, so if you're not gonna tell me where Buckley is at, then I'm gonna keep torturing you until you tell me where he's at. And she was just refusing to cooperate with him. So then he just went all in on her. But and then yeah, he held her at gunpoint, he held her hostage, and then he shot Jerome. And again, look, I understand that. But you know, I don't know, man. Like, put it like this. I don't like Kane, you know, half as much as I used to, and that whole episode was kind of wild anyway. And Kane is dead, so I mean, you know, that's my thoughts on Kane, really. Teddy, you know, I think they're really gearing up for Teddy to come out victorious throughout this whole entire ordeal. And again, like, we already know how these things go. Teddy has like infinite infrastructure behind him that is supporting him going back to back with or head to head with Franklin and, you know, whomever. So I mean, I never liked Teddy anyway, so I don't really have thoughts on him really, because yeah. Gustavo, you know, he keeps on playing both sides. Like, it's like, whose side are you really on? Because he was like working undercover with like 3 different people. So it's like Franklin, he's got something going on with. Teddy, he's got something going on with. And I think like the Mexican dude that Teddy ran up on, he's got something going on with him too. And I think he's going to double cross Franklin, who doesn't have the money. Franklin told him $10 million. Franklin doesn't have $10 million, and Franklin, I don't even think, has $1 million. You know, Franklin is in desperation mode, because if he had $1 million, why, you know, would he be doing a lot of shit that he's doing? At least from my perspective. So I think if Franklin does give him any money at all, Gustavo is not going to do what he told him to do, and he's going to run for the hills, because Franklin cannot guarantee that Gustavo, you know, Franklin can't guarantee Gustavo that Teddy is going to die. Because if Franklin kills Teddy, how is Franklin going to get the money? Because only Teddy knows where it's at. Like, this whole entire Snowfall season 6 storyline, I think it's heading for like a serious crash landing. Like, this is not going to be an ending that I think viewers are going to feel good about at all. And I think, again, if Franklin does make it out alive, everybody else isn't. That's the thing. Veronique is gonna go, Leon's gonna go, everybody, no one's gonna be around, you know, at the very end, like, you know, in the aftermath. It's either 2 people are gonna be alive, Teddy or Franklin, one or the other, maybe both, I don't know, you know. But Gustavo, anyway, I think he's just a snake. I don't really, you know, I just don't trust this guy at all. Oh yeah. Well, I remember what the heck nickname he calls Franklin. But anyway, those are my thoughts on Gustavo, really. Veronique, you know, not a lot of women have that sort of loyalty where their mom is going to tell them to walk away from a guy and then she's going to stand firm and stand by her man. I respect that. And I think Franklin respected that too, you know. I think it meant a lot to him that, you know, she could have just walked away right then and there. And she didn't, and she stayed with him because Franklin needs that support. You know? Because if Veronique wasn't there, if we think Franklin is going crazy now, if she wasn't there, Franklin would be doing the most wild, insane shit if he didn't have Veronique there to balance him out. But if I was Franklin, here's the thing though. If I was Franklin, I would have let her go. The well-being and the safety of my woman and my child, who I don't even know if the baby's even born yet, I don't know. But that is more important than my own personal vengeance or vendetta or all of that. Like, the game changes once you have kids. So it's like the way that you think and the way that you move should be completely different than the way that you were moving before. So, you know, and that was, but here's the thing, that was Veronique's last chance to make it out alive. And she passed it up to support Franklin, who, again, is on a crash course, you know, to nowhere. You know what I'm saying? He's not going anywhere anytime soon but the jail cell or the graveyard. He's only going to 2 places. And Veronique, if she's not careful, she could end up right next to him if she's not careful. But if Franklin truly loved Veronique, he should have let her go with their mother, with her mom. He definitely should have let her go. I would have, you know, because the way that things are going, it's just not going anywhere positive. And her mom could see that, because her mom, she knew that killing Teddy's father was not part of the plan. And the fact that he killed him, it changes everything. Because this is not just a hostage situation. Like, okay, I'm holding him until you give me the money. No, you were supposed to hold him until you got the money. You were not supposed to kill him and then ask for the money, because all bets are off at that point. All bets are off now. And the thing is, Veronique's mom knows what's gonna happen as a result of that, and that's why she's trying to get out of Dodge now. You know, I mean, that's what any mother would have done. I can't even knock her for that. You know, so I feel bad for what's gonna happen to Veronique. I mean, you know, her being a loyal girlfriend is gonna get her killed, and that sucks. So yeah, moving forward, again, my prediction for my prediction for episode 7 and moving forward, you know, honestly, until the end, I just see Louie going full force on Franklin. So if she was mad at him before, she's gonna be mad at him now, wrongfully so, but now she's going to give all the intel that she has to Teddy on Franklin. He's going to be the object of her vengeance now. So they were already, things got ugly before, but things are gonna get uglier. You know, and Franklin, it's just a countdown until who does what. So it's either gonna come from Louie, which I don't think so, or Teddy, because now he has to stay out of sight because he knows Teddy is on him. So now you got Louie, who doesn't have anything to live for anymore because her man is gone, you know, and you got Teddy after you. Kane is dead, so I mean, that's out of the way, but you don't even know if that's going to result in anything. So, oh, also, but I do want to say this about the episode and black television, period. Now, I love Snowfall. Don't get me wrong. I like, well, I would say I love Snowfall. I like Snowfall. I enjoy watching the show. I enjoy the storyline. However, this episode was pretty hardcore, at least for me. I don't know about other people. People watch wild shit on TV and on the internet all the time and don't bat an eye, but for me, this episode was kind of a lot, and it kind of highlights what's wrong with black television, particularly like these sorts of shows, because all it was like everything that's wrong with the black community, because these things are based on real life. And I don't think that black people should find this sort of thing entertaining, because I didn't. Frankly, to be honest with you, this episode was hard to watch. It was hard to watch because we dealt with a character that we've been watching for 6 seasons. We watched him die right in front of us. Black people killing each other left and right, and then a black woman being beaten up by black men or black men, and then about to get, you know, taken advantage of, broken down, broken in, and turned out by, you know, freaking Paige Kennedy, or whatever his character's name was. I don't know what his character's name was, but he looked wild too. And then even the exchange between her and him, like, that to me was wild. So I think after Snowfall is done, I think I'm gonna really kind of stop watching shows like this, to be honest with you. Like, I think the difference between Snowfall and Power is that Power, yeah, you know, people get shot, but it doesn't get that hardcore like it got on there. You know, like Snowfall is like rated R, you know, rated R plus or NC-17, and Power is rated R, but you know, Snowfall is on the next level. And you know, again, it was very cringe in the bad way. Like, it was hard to watch. And I think shows need to kind of start to be like Bel-Air. And I know Bel-Air is not the most popular show or black show on television, but again, Bel-Air shows black people in a more positive light, and we need to start seeing each other in that light instead of constantly watching, you know, us do each other wrong on these shows, you know, because it just desensitizes us to black death, black trauma, black, you know, saying issues, like all of this stuff. And it's just not, it's like that episode, and I'm not saying this whole series was like that, but that episode in particular was just really just not conducive to like what black people should be taking in and consuming, you know, mentally, visually, emotionally. Because, you know, these shows, they take you on a ride, they take you on a journey. And again, episode 6 was not a journey that I want to go on ever again, because I don't go out of my way to watch certain things, or I go out of my way not to watch certain things. And that was a pure example of what I do not want to watch. So yeah, anyway, so those are my thoughts on Snowfall episode 6, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.
Good luck.